Good morning, good people. It's Saturday. You've made it through the week. And here we are again, doing what we do best. Digging into the headlines, cutting through the noise, and occasionally raising an eyebrow or two. I'm Maynard, and this is your Saturday Roundup with Dug Up. Let's dive straight in. Now, first off is a bit of a mystery out of our cabinet in Zimbabwe. President Mnangagwa fired the Environment, Climate and Wildlife Minister, Stembiso Nyoni. We really like these tongue twisters with ministries, don't we? Anyway, no reason was given, no comment from Nyoni, just gone like a WhatsApp message that's been unsent. Now, Stembiso Nyoni is not a political rookie, like whatsoever. She's been in cabinet since 2002, women's affairs, SMEs, industry, you name it. She's been there. You'd say she's a vet. She's a vet of the cabinet. Most recently, she was running the Environment Ministry. And that's where things get a little bit interesting, because under her watch, Zimbox, which she oversaw, clashed publicly with the Minister of Mines after a Chinese company got a coal prospecting license or something like that, and they were meant to prospect or mine whatever it is they wanted to do inside Hwange National Park. You know Hwange National Park? The place where black rhinos live, that endangered species, protected habitat, source of tourism dollars. Yeah. Zimbox said mining there would risk extinction of the black rhino. Not just harm them, not just disturb the rhino, but outright extinction. So was her firing connected to that stand? Possibly, probably, definitely a maybe. But in politics, no one ever leaves without a story. We know that. And right now, Nyoni's silence says just as much as Mnangagwa's own silence regarding the issue. Oh, and let's not forget that this all unfolds as ZANU-PF is tangled in internal wars over extending Mnangagwa's own presidential term past 2028. Nonetheless, it's another week of talking about a dodgy deal with a Chinese company, and now it's claimed a minister along the way. Time will tell. Nobody lives without a story, like we said. We will eventually find out if Stembiso Nyoni was axed because of the 2030 thing or because of that rhino. And speaking of political heat, Blessed Geza, war veteran, YouTuber now, man in military fatigues, so many descriptions for him. He says it's coming from Mnangagwa's job. Geza claims the president now has vascular dementia and he is no longer fit to lead. He says he has the medical results, but we haven't seen them, neither would we share them. Medical privacy and so forth. But Geza says he has them. And let's just say, the last time somebody made that claim that Mnangagwa was now ill, that was Kasukwere, wasn't it? Mnangagwa's spokesperson hit back by saying, where did Kasukwere get his medical degree? But we're here again. It kind of reminds you of the day of Mugabe, isn't it? When they said, oh, he's shitting his pants and so forth. And now, Geza says corrupt businessmen around Mnangagwa are using his health issues to get him to sign off dodgy deals that the president himself fails to recognize much later. It's like we're playing a broken record a second time. We've been through this with Mugabe. We were being told he's signing stuff, he doesn't remember stuff, he's wearing adult diapers and so forth. That's what Geza says. But dementia or not, what's clear is that Geza's push for impeachment is causing ripples and problems. But there's a catch. Zimbabwe's impeachment process, it needs serious numbers. First, you need a majority vote. I think Mnangagwa thinks he has one, but yeah, you need that majority vote. Then, after, you need a committee investigation. Then you need a 2/3 vote from the House of Parliament. It's not going to be easy. ZANU-PF has that. And Chabangu, you know what I mean? So, Geza's got ambition for sure, but does he have the maths? Anyway, if Mnangagwa was to be impeached, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga or Vice President Mohadi, they would take over for up to 90 days. But therein is the catch. Mohadi, he's barely been seen in public lately. And as we revealed a week ago and the week prior, he is gravely ill and is not expected to remain president past 2025. That leaves Chiwenga, you know, the guy that lead a coup. I feel like we say this week in, week out. Anyway, just had to throw that in. Let's see who blinks first. Now, in a story that sounds like an action movie written by a confused screenwriter, 4 men, all from Chitungwiza, are being accused of trying to burn down properties linked to ZANU-PF connected tycoons. Their method: drive their cars to the scene, then set their own cars on fire. That's right, that's what authorities are claiming. They claim these 4 men torched their own vehicles outside the offices of Wicknell Chivayo, Kudakwashi Tagwirei, and John Mangunja. You remember in the build-up to March 31, there was that signal. Initially, people were told that, hey, whoa, you know, these guys have had their properties damaged. Police claimed, no, these guys just drove their own cars and burnt them outside the business premises. One other vehicle that was burnt, it damaged the Starlink sign. Another exploded, but hit absolutely nothing. The other attempts pretty much also failed. So that's basically 4 arson attempts, 0 destruction, 1 burnt Starlink board. Yeah. But there's a twist, right? The attacks, as I said, happened hours after Blessed Geza named Tagwirei and Chivayo as criminals around the president. Coincidence? You get to decide that. The accused have been remanded in custody. Bail, that's going to be a high court problem for now. But that's what's happened with that story and Geza's signal. 4 men held. We'll see if the trial is as fast as the next one. Now remember Chivayo again, and talking about speed. We reported not long ago that Chivayo's in-laws were robbed last month, $74,000. It was taken in a violent heist at their Marondera farm, a heist described as being military level. One of the robbers, 27-year-old Big Boy Nampungo, what a name. He's now been sentenced to 60 years. But he'll only serve 30 years. Some of those years are running at the same time, they're concurrent, blah, blah, blah. So effective, he'll serve 30 years. The guy pleaded guilty to all 6 counts of armed robbery, didn't waste the court's time, and that probably shaved a few years off. According to court records, this guy, Big Boy, and his gang, they tied up the guards with cable ties, smashed into the house, grabbed cash, guns, phones, pretty much the works. One guard tried to stop them and opened fire, but the robbers escaped in the chaos. Big Boy, one of the guys, he's down. The other guys, they're still in custody. Their trial, we're told, now resumes on April 10. It's a mess, isn't it? You know, if you're going to rob a politically exposed family, maybe don't. You know, Zimbabwe's justice system is many things. But when the victims are high profile, it moves like Usain Bolt. That is swift justice. Like literally, in a matter of days, arrested, pinned, 60 years, done. That's how effective police can be when they want to. Story that was in the headlines. Police in Bulawayo shot and unalived 2 men linked to the murder of Sergeant Abel Masava, who was gunned down last week in Sizinda suburb. The suspects are allegedly part of an armed robbery gang, and they reportedly opened fire as police closed in. A shootout followed, and 2 suspects, Sipho Ncube and Dumisani Ndlovu, were killed. 3 others were arrested: Mandlenkosi Mungati, Clifford Nare, and Thabo Dube, I think. I think it's Thabo Dube. They are now in custody facing a long list of charges. Masaba was killed while responding to a domestic violence call. Masaba is the cop, if you hadn't gotten his name. He encountered 5 men when he responded to that call, and he never made it back. It's a reminder of just how dangerous Zimbabwe has become and how these robbery syndicates, usually confined to South Africa, are now operating with the same level of brutality in Zimbabwe. Finally, a bit of hope, a bit of good news, but you can still draw humor out of it. The government is preparing to host this year's Independence Day celebrations in rural Nembudzia. Expected turnout, around 60,000 people. So what do you think is the first thing the government's going to build in Nembudzia? A lot of people are coming through. A mortuary. Yeah. No kidding. A mortuary. The government is building a mortuary alongside roads, boreholes, telemedicine centers, and a VIP ward. They are putting up a mortuary. Minister of Information Jenfen Swerap says it's part of a wider health plan. 10 ambulances, an air ambulance, isolation centers, the works. Yeah, had that before. Anyway, now on one hand, this shows seriousness, doesn't it? I'm holding my laughter, but it does show seriousness. Emergencies do happen, and when that many people gather together, you need the resources. On the other hand, though, building a mortuary before a party raises like a few eyebrows. Why? But here's the upside. Nembudzia is getting a serious upgrade. The roads are being resurfaced, the schools are being transformed, boreholes are being drilled, and lights are being installed. For a few weeks, this place, it's the center of the world. Or maybe just the country. Or maybe just the province. Then it's back to reality. Let's just hope the infrastructure lasts longer than the party. That's your Saturday Roundup. Ministers fired with no explanation, impeachment threats flying around, cars set on fire by their own drivers, and mortuaries being built before a party. Zimbabwe never disappoints. It's always a story, and it's always worth watching. I'm Maynard, and thanks for riding through the headlines with me from last week. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll catch you next Saturday on the Saturday Roundup with Maynard. Cheers.